Hello. Let's start our yoga practice today with our pranayama, our breathing practice, our energy practice. And today let's go to tried and true Nadi Shodhana, or alternate nostril breathing. And the reason I've chosen this one for today is just because kind of in my world I'm hearing a lot of migraines stories happening again, and this one depending on what is causing your migraines, this one can be very effective. Um, Probably if used for a longer duration than we're going to be using here in class, but I'd love for you to get to know the breathing practice. So if you don't already know it, feel free to start and just go for it if you do, but I'll walk you through it a few times for the newbies. We're going to plug off one nostril and breathe out slowly, then breathe in. Switch nostrils, breathe out and in. It's always at the top of the breath where you switch nostrils. So the pattern is out, in, switch. And after your next exhale, come back to the natural breath. And you can do that breath for 5 to 10 minutes a few times a day if you really want to go for it. I like it at the very first ping of a headache. I do that, and I never need to take any medication for it. Of course, that's just me personally, but it has changed my life in that realm. After you're done, it's perfectly normal to feel a little bit lightheaded, so just don't do it at the top of the stairs. All right, let's find some larger movements in the body now. Let's start with the torso today. We're going to take it left and right. Front, back. And take it in a circle. So that's that low rib cage. So I want you to notice that my neck and head pretty much stay still for this. My shoulders, they stay in the same area, and my hips are on the floor, so they're obviously staying pretty still. So that's different from, we'll do this one instead, where I'm going to imagine drawing a circle on the ceiling with the top of my head. Now, I wouldn't say that one is better than the other, but they do both stretch and work different things. Go ahead and circle the other direction. Nice. Let's get up to the arms. We're going to play with the fingers to start and the wrists. When we roll our hands like this, These two bones in the forearm are actually rotating around. And then go ahead and take it up to moving through the shoulders as well. Let yourself be creative and explorative. Ooh, and naturally letting it go up to my neck since the shoulders and neck are connected. I'll run that back down the body to the legs. Go ahead and take the legs side by side. We will run them back and forth. So for our practice today, we're going to take up a little bit more floor space with our knees. So if you're on a hardwood floor like I am, and you have sensitive knees like I do, this might take a little bit of shuffling to make sure that your knees always end up on the mat. That being said, if you have two mats and you'd like to put them both down, that wouldn't be a terrible idea either. All right, I'm gonna hop on my mat. We're gonna drop both those knees over to one side. Okay. Go ahead and rotate, look over the back shoulder. And let it go. We're still going to be pointing towards that front knee. I want you to push down with the knees. Your torso is naturally going to come forward as you lift yourself up. Okay? Go ahead and let yourself come back down. Here's the thing. Even though the torso is going to go forward, because it kind of has to, I want you to minimize it, okay? So instead of really like, to get up, keep yourself as upright as you can. Maybe your arms come forward for a little bit more counterbalance, but press down, trying to keep your head, shoulders, and tail in as straight of a line as possible. Let's go ahead and switch it to the other side, and we'll take that big stretch to look over the back shoulder. Unwind the torso, press down through the knees to lift the tail. We'll try that a couple more times. Again, minimizing the lean forward. All right, now we're going to put that all together. Bring the knees over and down, lift up. You might notice that I'm trying to keep my hands off the ground the whole time so that they're not assisting. Of course, if you need them to assist, use that as long as you absolutely have to, and let them go as soon as you can. All right, we're gonna add one more thing to this. After you've come back down, we're gonna take this back ankle and try to lift it up, okay? It's probably not going to go very far. It might go a little higher than mine, but it won't go very far. And then rotate to the other side. So we'll go up and down, lift that back ankle, and switch. Feel free to take it at your own pace. Last one. All right, go ahead and reach back for that back heel and pull it up now. Help it on up. So this feels kind of funky to my arm, so I'm going to switch things up and I'm going to hold it with the crook of my elbow instead. That's just my preference because I don't like to feel a lot of strain in my shoulder from having to like pull my elbow up. I can change where this stretches a few different ways. I can tuck the leg further behind me. I can rotate my torso more towards my foot, more away from my foot. You guys might know that I love feeling this openness across the pecs and stretching the bicep a little bit. So this one feels great for me. If you're stuck in the car or at a computer desk all day, it might feel great to you too. All right, let it go. We're going to switch sides. And again, we'll help this back ankle up. All righty, let it go. Let's take the soles of the feet together and the knees wide. And we're not going to take a deep stretch yet. Instead, we're going to grab our ankles or toes, depending on the proportions of your body and your flexibility. We're going to, with as flat a back as possible, lean forward. So that means that your knees might not go down quite as far as they could if you were rounded. That's okay. We want that flat back, because we're going to take these elbows and we're going to drive them down into the legs. So I'm using my biceps here, almost like I'm trying to lift my ankles, but instead it's pushing my elbows down and pushing until I feel like a productive stretch in the groin area and no further. I do not want to feel any tearing, and I certainly don't want to be jerking or bouncing. All right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to keep this pressure with the arms. Whatever pressure I have with the arms, I'm going to keep that same amount. And then I'm going to use my inner thigh muscles to press my elbows back together. You'll notice my legs are winning, but that doesn't mean that my arms are making it easy. And then my legs are going to keep pressing inwards, but now my arms are going to win. I'm going to add more force to my arms. So again, my arms are winning, but the legs are working really hard. We're going to go back and forth, keeping that spine as long as possible. I know there's a lot to think about in this move. We've got the elbows pushing out, the knees pulling in, the spine staying straight, and making sure that nothing is jerking. A little shaking happening though. There we go. Pull that chest forward. And you feel the difference between your chest doing the work, like gorilla, like versus letting your back take on some of the work too, to press those elbows down, especially in the lower areas. Feel your shoulder blades dropping down into your back to do some of the work as well. So it's harder here for your back to get engaged, but especially as we pull the chest forward, now we can get into those strong back muscles. All right, now let's go ahead and round into our lap and just let those muscles stretch that we worked. Grab onto those toes or ankles. Lean back until your feet start to float. Long spine again if you can. If it doesn't feel good to rest on your tailbone like this, maybe try sitting on something a little bit more cushy. Sometimes people's tailbones are a little sensitive back there. All right, then we're gonna just play. Let's go ahead and see what we can do with these legs while we're here. Alrighty, set it down. Let's take one leg behind us again. So I've heard it called a stag stretch or like a traditional quad stretch. So we've got one leg in front bent, one leg behind bent. We're gonna go back up to pressing down through the knees to lift up. This time we're gonna rotate all the way over to our front leg. My back leg swung out. And let's go ahead and stretch our hip flexors. We'll get a little bit of abdominal work here by pressing down through the hands. Come up on the ball of your foot back there, lift your knee off the ground. Then tuck your tummy towards your spine. Really exhale right here until your knee comes off the ground. So you're essentially doing a crunch. And then put the foot down between the hands, low lunge. Let's give our body a moment to acclimate to this stretch. Spine is long, weight is on your feet. The hands are only there for a little bit of balance. And we're gonna start playing with this. Press down through the foot to press the rump up and back, pyramid pose. So I'm feeling a lot of my calf muscle in the back leg, some Achilles there around my ankle. And then up here, I'm feeling a lot of hamstring. If I wanna really increase the stretch here, I can bring my back hip forward, my front hip back, and make sure that the arch of my front foot is pressed down into the mat. And now I feel this stretch all the way from my outer ankle up to my hip. All right, so we're gonna go back and forth into this. We're going to go low lunge, pyramid pose. Breathing in, lifting my heart, low lunge, pyramid pose. Excellent. Let's go ahead and drop our back knee, straighten our front leg. Come on down to the front leg. And again, we have this idea of pressing our arch into the mat. And feeling a lot of stretch on the top of the ankle, running up my shins, and that's because I've been struggling with a lot of shin splints lately, and this area is very tight, so I know that I need this. We'll change it again by now bringing our toes towards our nose, and this is what most people are in need of, is their calves. So if you want to grab those toes and give it even a little bit extra, please do. I'll just remind those of us who are a little extra mobile not to hyperextend your knee. So your leg should be straight, not dip down. Excellent. Let's take it back to our low lunge. And then make your way back down to the mat. We're back where we started. We're going to try to balance on our rump while we switch to the other side. If that's not going to work for you, don't worry about it. But we're going to lift those legs and switch it over here. Lovely. Let's go ahead and rotate towards that front shin again. Stretch out the back leg. We'll go ahead and rock into this hip flexor here. Press down through the ball of the back foot and the hands. Exhale, press the belly button up towards the spine. Take the knee along with you. Feel that deep crunch. And then set the foot down between the hands. Low lunge. On the inhales, think of lengthening your spine towards your head, your leg down out your heel. That's your inhales. On your exhales, think about pressing your pelvis towards your front heel. Because we're not rolling forward, it's not going to touch. We're simply making a micro movement towards the front heel. Now we'll make those movements bigger with breath. We'll exhale, lengthen the front leg, pyramid pose. Inhale, low lunge. Deepen this pyramid pose stretch for a moment. Again, we do that by bringing the back hip forward, rocking into our arch in the front foot. And drop the back knee. Lengthen the front leg. Roll into the arch. So when we're stretching, it's very common when the muscle is letting go that we will feel a shift. That shift can feel different in different moments. Sometimes for me it feels like kind of an uncomfortable prickly feeling, and that's the muscle saying, okay, we can go further. and then all of a sudden I'm allowed to go deeper into the muscle. Sometimes that sensation is a softening or a lessening of the stretching sensation, and it allows me in. Sometimes it feels like, okay, you can go in, but it's not going to feel great. So it's no longer like I'm hitting a brick wall, but it's definitely like you're going to be going through some berry bushes. And so I tend to go into those a little bit more gently, with a lot more care for myself and breath work to support that uncomfortable sensation that I know isn't going to injure me, but it doesn't feel the best either. Go ahead and pull those toes back towards you. And again, not hyperextending the knee. You can grab the toes if you like. Our goal here is to be stretching the bottom of the foot, the back of the lower leg. You might still get some hamstrings in here too. You might also get the outside of the leg. Take it forward to low lunge. And then go ahead and drop it back down to sitting. Tight core here, lift those legs to switch sides. Come up on your shin, press down through the hands and back foot, crunch that knee off the ground, and let's press it up to the air behind us. And then let's step it forward to low lunge. We'll press the tail back to pyramid pose. Bend back down into low lunge, and an option here is to lift to high lunge. So my back heel is going to stay off the ground. Exhale, come back down. Let my shin come back down to the mat. We'll take it over to the other side. Up on the shin. Exhale, deep crunch, knee to the chest and to the sky. Forward low lunge. Pyramid pose. Low lunge again. And set that shin down. Let's do it again. Roll to the other side. Crunch up. Press back. Low lunge. Oh, I forgot the high lunge on that one. I knew I forgot something. Bring it up, optional high lunge. And back down. Set that pyramid pose. And low lunge. Set the shin down. Let's head to the other side. Up on the shin, big crunch. Press down through those hands. Press the heel up behind you. Bring it forward, low lunge. And we're going to do that high lunge option twice on this side to make up for it. Here we go. Here's one of them. Up and down. Pyramid, lengthen out the front leg. Low lunge again. Second time option, high lunge. And down. There we go, set that shin down. We're gonna roll to the middle. Bring your knees together. Lengthen out your spine. Boat pose. Okay, so this is a little boat. Your boat might be here even. What we want are abs engaged. Whichever type of boat you are, it should be challenging, not impossible. You should be able to do it with a loose jaw, relatively smooth breathing. Reach between your knees and grab the ankles or toes. Lengthen the spine as much as you can. I had a class one time and there was a Jamaican gentleman who at this point lost control of his boat and rolled over and yelled, "I capsized!" So now I think of it every time. Go ahead and set those feet down. And we're going to use our elbows to press into our knees. Find your full range of motion, or 95% of your full range of motion. Open the chest, engage your back muscles to help pull those elbows down. And then squeeze with your knees. Elbows are resisting.